of us have been waiting for. Joyce Meyer, pausing her program, sends a clear and powerful message to other ministers on Daystar. It's time to take a stand. Some well-known figures like Jack Graham, Jesse Duplantis, Lance Wallnau, and Hank and Brenda Kunneman have recently left Daystar too. But here's the thing. They didn't directly cite the scandal as their reason. Instead, they gave other explanations, which makes it seem like they didn't want to stir the pot or make things messier. But Joyce Meyer? She's taken a bold step, and we've got to give her credit for it. By putting her program on hold, she's making a statement and showing that she's willing to lend her voice to this issue. It's a move that many of us hope to see from other big names in ministry. Hopefully, this encourages others to follow her lead and take a stand instead of staying quiet. Before now, Canadian author Laura Lynn Tyler Thompson cut ties with Daystar in November. She's been a strong voice standing with Jonathan and Susie Lamb, helping to highlight the situation and clear up a lot of the gray areas surrounding the scandal. Her work has definitely made a difference. By speaking out and supporting them, she's helped bring attention to the issues and shown how important it is to stand up for what's right. Recently, an audio clip surfaced where Joni Lamb listed names of pastors and Christian leaders who, according to her, gave their blessing for her to marry Doug Weiss. This raised eyebrows because Doug's divorce lacked clear biblical grounds, and there are so many unanswered questions about their relationship. Interestingly, one of the names she mentioned was Joyce Meyer. Now, here's the thing. Joni creating that list feels questionable. If you're so confident in your decision, why do you need a lineup of people to back you up? It almost seems like she knew there were issues and was looking for validation to justify her choice. And let's be honest, most of those leaders likely agreed just to stay on her good side, maintain their ties with the network, or enjoy perks like Jimmy Evans and others. It's a messy situation, and this kind of name-dropping...
Joyce Meyer, a prominent Christian author and speaker, announced the suspension of her long-running show, Enjoying Everyday Life on Daystar, citing concerns over the network's internal issues. In an email obtained by Religion News Service, Meyer's son, Dan Meyer, stated, "Due to the nature of these allegations and my mom's own story, we feel a profound responsibility to stand for truth and create space for its discovery. The allegations involve claims by Jonathan Lamb, Joni Lamb's son, and his wife Susie, who accused Joni of covering up the sexual abuse of their daughter by a family member. Joni Lamb has denied these allegations, describing them as part of a smear campaign following Jonathan's dismissal from the network.
The Lord's about to bring somebody into your life. This was July. He woke me up 3 days ago and said, the Lord said, don't close your heart and don't be afraid. People like QB Sin, people like my former assistant, Sam McNeil, who told me later, after she kind of knew, walked with me through this process, and she's like a little intercessor for me, and she told me, showed me an email that she had written back like in August, where the Lord had showed her that he would be the one, but she didn't show me till many months later. She showed me the date on it. People like Cheryl Pruitt-Salem from Miss America, who upon hearing about us seeing each other, she said, I was praying and there's not anyone that I could have thought of that could better fit with you in your world than Doug. People like Cindy Murdoch, and they'll say, oh, well, she's my friend, she's on the table. But she's a friend that would wound me with truth, just like I've done with her over the years. And she would tell me if she didn't feel right about it. People like Cindy Johnson and Darius Johnston, who we've gone on 2-week trips with, where Darius had intense time with him for hours and hours to talk to him and ask him questions. A seasoned pastor who has discernment, who was one of Marcus's best friends, who would be more protective over me than anybody. People like Jimmy Evans that I talked to in July the first time, and then later in July, people like Karen Evans that I talked to through this process. You all said the same thing. Just wait, because the kids aren't ready. And so if we didn't have kids, we would have been married sooner. But we've waited.
How soon do you think you'd have gotten married if you were?
It doesn't matter.
I'm just curious.
And so people like Rhonda Davis that have a program on Daystar, been a friend over 30 years, pastors at church, who's one of the closest people to God that I know of, who has prayed and stood with me on through the whole journey. I've told her every detail of stuff they don't know, the kids don't know. I mean, good and bad, and has 100% felt. Robert and Debbie, who Robert told me that Doug is known for his integrity in Colorado Springs. We went and met with them. Joyce Meyer, who has called me on multiple occasions, multiple times, we talked about it. John Hagee, who went through a similar situation where he divorced his wife. He did not have adult.
Never know what it's like to have a great dad. I'll never know what it's like to be able to sit on my dad's lap, put my arms around his neck, and just get a hug without fear that it's going to turn into something else. I'll never be able to be hurting and ask my dad to go have coffee with me and sit down and just tell him what I'm going through and have him really care. I'll never have that. And literally what he did was me. And he did it every week, at least once a week, until the time I was 18.
Well, I was just very, very young when he started to put his hands on me and do different things. And but when I was a young teenager, it went beyond just putting his hands on me to just making me his mistress. And my mom caught him when I was a teenager. She came home unexpectedly and caught him.
Actually abused me, and my mother knew it and didn't do anything about it, so she basically abandoned me to it out of fear. And let me tell you, I have spent my life dealing with stuff that he did to me. But when they got older, God asked me one morning when I was praying, he said, I want you to move your parents closer to where you live, buy them a little house, put them in it, and take care of them until they die. Well, I said, I rebuke you, Satan. I mean, I did. I thought there is no way that God would ask me to do that. But you know, when something is God, it'll come back around another time, and another time, and another time. That's one of the ways you can tell when you're hearing from God, is something just stays. It just stays. You think about it, then tomorrow you think about it again. Even if it's something as little as call somebody. Anyway, it's a long story short, but we did obey God, and I think it was probably one of the most powerful things against the kingdom of darkness that I ever did. There's nothing that defeats the devil more than when you're good to somebody who has not been good.
Just very, very young when he started to put his hands on me and do different things. And but when I was a young teenager, it went beyond just putting his hands on me to just making me his mistress. And my mom caught him when I was a teenager. She came home unexpectedly. And
Joyce Meyer is a well-known Christian author, speaker, and televangelist whose program, Enjoying Everyday Life, has been a mainstay on Christian television networks, including Daystar. She is the founder of Joyce Meyer Ministries and is renowned for her teachings on faith, personal growth, and overcoming life's challenges, often drawing from her own experiences of childhood abuse. Joyce Meyer is not directly involved in the allegations or the internal issues at Daystar. However, her decision to pause broadcasting her program on Daystar has drawn attention as it signals a significant response to the scandal surrounding the network. Joyce Meyer has not made a public statement directly addressing the scandal, but her ministry cited concerns over the allegations involving Daystar's leadership. In an email sent to media outlets, her son, Dan Meyer, who helps manage Joyce Meyer Ministries, explained the decision to step back. Due to the nature of these allegations and my mom's own story, we feel a profound responsibility to stand for truth and create space for its discovery. This move aligns with Joyce Meyer's personal history as a survivor of sexual abuse, which has been a central theme in her ministry. It underscores her commitment to advocating for truth and accountability, particularly in situations involving abuse or misconduct. By pausing her program, Meyer appears to be distancing her ministry from the ongoing controversy at Daystar until further clarity emerges.